3, 2, 1.
Test, test.
Announce the book.
Me?
Yes.
What's the book?
What's the book?
Yes, you.
Enter the Ardvark.
This is starting out bad.
You want to start over?
No.
What's the book?
This
Put an
month's
echo
book
in there.
is Enter the Ardvark. And Jan is the one who brought it to us to read.
Yay.
So without further ado, Jan, tell us a little bit about the book.
I thought this book was just fun.
Yes.
I mean, it was just, and I think I said when I suggested the book that I just pictured Josh Hawley through this whole book.
Oh,
Was he
okay.
the one with his eyes popped
It
out?
was,
or-
no, the congressman.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes it very fun.
Oh, yeah.
But he hasn't come out that he's gay.
Not yet.
There we know.
No, but I think
mean-
he has come to terms with it. And he has kind of,
Are we talking about
accepted
Josh
it.
Hawley now?
no, we're kind of talking about
Oh.
Alexander Payne.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has had an epiphany. I really do. By the end of the book.
Do you think he's going to come out?
Oh, I don't know about that. But yeah, I think he,
In the sequel, he'll come out in the sequel.
yeah, exit,
Wait,
exit the
he's
Ardvark.
having an epiphany of what?
About his gayness.
What, he was hiding it from himself?
Yeah.
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 Are you kidding?
Okay, he's
I
having...
don't know whether you listened to it or whether you read it.
We
I
read
read
it.
it.
We read it.
But all the capital letters and
Yeah.
the parentheses and
Yeah.
the italics were such an important part
Yeah.
of the book.
I agree.
We are not gay, capital
not
N,
gay.
capital G.
We're having sex.
Find a wife, F-A-W.
We're having sex with a man, but we are not
No,
gay.
and neither one of them are gay.
We're just doing this for just short-term entertainment.
Didn't you get that?
Yeah.
You know, all the discussions I've had with John, I don't think he read the book.
Bill, do you want to have sex?
Maybe
It's
you had a
just
different-
something, we're not gay, it's just
Everything I
something to
said,
do.
he's like,
I'm going to
what?
pause the recording, John.
Oh, I didn't mean Bill, I meant Jim.
No, he says several times in the book, I am not gay.
Right.
Greg
Okay.
Tampico is not gay.
Yeah.
I need to find a wife,
Well, everybody
F-A-W.
knew Tamiko was gay. He was an outright gay guy.
Well,
people knew it,
everybody
but I don't know
knew
that
he
he
was
was-
gay,
yeah,
but he
but they-
didn't
yeah.
say he was
That
gay.
was the way I understood it, yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. But since he
How
didn't read the
about
book,
the
he didn't know.
taxidermists? Did they ever admit that they were gay?
Oh, hell.
I don't know.
No,
Is
I don't
there
think
what,
so.
1800s?
Yeah.
They would have been
No.
arrested. They would have been
Yeah.
thrown in jail.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
And then they did the usual thing of just
Oh,
like
yeah.
when they took his body out. I mean, you know, they just kind of ignored it. Like, why would this man
Yeah.
be up there naked? This thing. I don't know, but we're just going to take him on home.
With his
Right.
wife.
With his wife.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Yeah.
going back to the gay thing,
Mhm.
you know, the quote of, I have to find a wife, I have to find a wife, I thought that came from he's going to run for
Yes.
some
Re-election.
something, yeah,
Re-election.
maybe re-election. But his crew was telling him you have to have a wife,
Yes.
not he's
His
saying
staff
I
is
have
saying.
to have a wife.
Well, but he
He said later on, though.
after Greg Tampico, after he broke off with Greg Tampico and left him, after Greg Tampico wanted to go on his campaign trail with him,
Public.
and,
Be public.
and you know, kind of expose them to this knowledge that they're having this gay relationship, and he freaks out and says, "Oh, see you later."
Gotta find
And
a
Greg
wife.
Tampico kills himself. Then he goes, "Okay, gotta find a wife." And he comes over to the idea that he has to find a wife.
But after he was advised, you need to find a
Yes.
wife if you want to win
He
an
But,
election.
but he was ignoring that.
Yeah,
He was
He
just
had
thinking-
been ignoring
He'd
it.
been ignoring that. They've been
Okay.
telling him forever.
Okay.
His staff had. You need to get a wife.
I just wish we'd known it was so pornographic.
I know.
Were you
I
offended,
worried
Jason?
about you guys. All the cock talk and all that
If I-
stuff. And I was like,
if I
oh
knew.
no, oh
I
no.
don't know.
It was hard to get through.
Yeah, was it?
It was pretty graphic.
They do look sort of distressed over there. Look at them, the three of them.
Fortunately, he found the girlfriend.
Well, Bill kept
Nancy
saying
fucking
also-
Beavers.
Yeah.
Nancy Beavers.
Beavers, is that kind of a...
Yeah.
kind of
Yes, absolutely.
That's no accident.
That is no accident. That's one of those
No.
Dickens names.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dick,
Exactly.
Dickens.
No, Dickens, no. What have I said?
At least you didn't
Fucking
say
beaver.
Faulkner or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, okay, yeah. Well,
And I just love the way she just
Poor
connected
great
these
writer.
two stories.
I know.
And the,
yeah,
the
there was a woman
Over a
that wrote
stuffed
it, too.
aardvark, it was-
yeah, and the
hilarious.
emphasis on the eyes through the whole
Mhm.
book. You
I
know.
didn't know you could make human eyes actually last like that. You know, I mean, is that
Yeah,
even true?
I'm hoping the science
he
of it was
preserved
it.
accurate.
Yeah, he put it in some sort of
He put it
preservative
in a
liquid.
shellac.
And I'm into looking up, can your eyes really pop out?
Yes,
and
there
hang?
really is a disease.
Yeah.
There is a disease
Where they
like
can
that?
pop out and hang
Something
on
to do
their
with your
optic nerves.
thyroid that makes your
Mm.
eyes,
Oh.
and they
Graves'
literally
disease.
can fall out.
Graves' disease.
And
Then you
or
push them
something.
back in?
Yeah.
Oh,
And Julie, they probably don't pop out and
Yes,
dangle.
they will.
Well, they don't dangle down
Well,
here.
they won't dangle very far because your optic nerve isn't that long.
Yeah.
But they
That-
might
that's
still
why you
dangle.
went-
But they
Blind,
come out of the
blind.
socket.
I mean, they, you know, even if it comes out like maybe 3/8 or half an inch,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's
coming out
bad.
of the socket.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And sooner or later that you'll go blind because the optic nerve has been
Stretched.
stretched so many
Yeah,
times.
I don't know.
Well, he had very poor eyesight, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
And then you didn't
he had no
have eyes.
eyesight. God,
Yeah.
how bizarre to have him. You know, like they thought he was dead.
Dead.
He
But
wasn't.
how did they cut his eyes out?
They cauterized. The
So the
guy
doctor
in
did
Africa.
that?
No, the guy in Africa did it.
The guy in Africa.
He was a
Yeah.
doctor, sort of.
Well, maybe a
Maybe
witch
a
doctor.
witch doctor, yeah.
And
Well,
why
he said
did
he
he
was
send
a-
the eyes to the wife?
He didn't intend to.
He sent him
Yeah,
back.
He worried about. He said they accidentally got to the wife.
Yeah.
I don't know where
Oh,
he
you think
intended
that
them
was
to
it?
go.
Well, he
Yeah.
sent him
He
home,
sent it.
and there was some sort of a time situation to where the wife got to him before he
Yeah.
could get to
Oh,
them.
I don't think
I
he
missed that
intended the
part.
wife.
And he'd come back
It
and-
wasn't clear because
Well-
I went back to see if I
Because I was
missed
like, I was
something.
thinking, I must have missed
And
something.
I think they skipped some. She skipped some of those parts because.
Well, he was out. He came back, and he was that shadow that walked in front of her. She was talking about walking in front of her apartment several times.
Right.
Then he disappeared. Then he came back, and then the story he was telling later was, you know, I'd shipped them back, and I came back hoping that she would leave, so I could go up and get them before she realized that they were there. But then there was this ritual of you have to stay. You cannot leave your house
Yeah,
when
I
your-
remember that now.
when your
I remember
husband
that. And so she had
died,
to
and
stay.
she had to stay there, and so he,
The eyes arrived.
yeah.
She never left. Yeah.
And I expect that fully today from my wife.
You gonna mourn John for
A year.
how long? A year?
Stay in the house.
Wear
for a
black
year.
and
But the
Absolutely.
thing
I
is,
can't see you dressed in black for a year.
Well, I wear a lot of black anyway. So.
that's why I didn't know.
So it works
The
out.
thing is, John will be gone, so.
Navy blue, but
Well, I'll still be around, but you know,
Are you leaving your eyes though?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
thought
what
that,
are you
Whoa.
doing with your eyes, John?
I'm going to do what everybody else at this table is going to do.
I did kind of like the way
What is that?
What
I
is
don't
that?
know.
described the
Donate the tissue.
Earth.
I hope I'm
how
not the
Earth
first
came
to
into
go.
being.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
the
all I-
beginning chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
the
that
first
was
the
pretty
beginning
good.
chapter was,
Okay.
yeah,
It was
great.
really
What
good.
was
I
Jason?
thought
What was that?
I
The
thought
beginning
the
chapter
the
when she was.
earth. The
Oh.
beginning of the earth.
I thought her best
Yeah.
one of the best sentences, cooled in this single mantle which cracks open in places, and here comes the lava expanding, but there are also places where the expanding lava cannot escape, and so the lava pushes itself against itself, and ta-da, mountains. I'm thinking, God must have gone, ta-da, mountains.
Did you notice that the first sentence starts a little bit, like my book anyway, a little bit down on the page?
Yeah,
And the first sentence goes on that page, and then you turn the page, and it's still
Yeah.
going. And I thought, Jan has given us a Faulkner. It's
Faulkner.
actually pretty interesting, but I know, I'm like, oh my God, is the whole
There's no
book gonna
place
be
to
like this?
breathe.
Where there's like, every 2 pages, it's a sentence.
So
Yeah.
It
what
wasn't.
did that have to do with the book, though? The beginning of time.
well,
Why did
that's
she-
how she introduces the aardvark.
Yeah, that's how the aardvark comes
That's how the
Yeah.
aardvark comes in.
Uh-huh.
The
Yeah,
odd-
the very
odd
last
aardvark.
paragraph of the,
Yeah.
of the first chapter.
Oh.
That's how we got that aardvark. I mean, I thought this was a really cleverly done
Yeah,
book,
Yeah,
I gotta
this is
say.
so clever.
And it
He
was a
has some
page-
kind
I
of
thought it was a
imagination,
page
that's
turner.
for sure.
Good
I
choice,
did.
Jan.
Thank you. Yeah, I was. I just
And
thought
tell me again, how'd you find out about the book?
probably New York Times. I think they probably reviewed it, and so.
I
And
didn't-
I've read
I-
another book by her, which is totally
I
different.
went back
Is
and
it-
read,
'cause
I
I was
read the
gonna
New
get
York
the other,
Times
but she's
review,
Pardon?
Yeah, I read the New York Times review that
Uh-huh.
they did. It was interesting. You know, what they said.
Uh-huh.
Why
I
do you
liked it.
think this is what that she chose as the artwork?
Mm.
Looks very patriotic.
It's an aardvark. And
Plus
it's- and it's a
politics.
flag.
And it's
Politics.
politics.
Yeah, the whole gay issue and things to me.
Very, very
Yeah,
political.
politicians, yeah.
How is that gay?
Well, it's
It's
pretty
not.
obvious when you look at it.
Jim, if you can't tell that's gay, then I think
Look
you're
at
better.
Wow,
Look at
Jim.
Jim's face over there.
What? I don't understand what's gay
bemused.
I
about
don't
it.
know gay.
There's
You
nothing
have to
gay.
We're
explain it.
kidding.
You look
There's nothing
bemused.
It's a
gay.
joke.
Political aardvark.
Okay. Explain it to me.
No, her.
No, that was a joke.
What's-
Except
The other-
what flag is that in the middle there?
No, it was a British. Well,
British or
it's sort of British right there.
there should be
Yeah.
an African flag in there somewhere.
Oh, this one
India.
is.
But her oral fixation got a little old.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, she's actually
yeah.
written
She got a little bit explicit there.
Which other book did you read, Jen? Because you've written 4.
It's called The Convalescent.
That was for.
And
think that was the
I
first-
don't think you like it.
Okay.
It's, but maybe you would. It's about a Hungarian, and she again goes into this. Every other chapter is this history of Hungary and all this about. I mean, really primitive stuff
Okay, yeah.
about Hungary, and there's some sex in it again, and not quite as
Gay sex again?
no,
No.
not gay sex.
That's
But-
where I fell off. my
But
back.
there's some pretty graphic
Oh yeah.
kind
Bill
of
Sidney.
Oh, yeah.
stuff going on about
Yeah.
childbirth
I
and
did.
stuff. But
But she
it's
didn't
about
hurt.
this guy.
I slid
He's
right into
he's
the
Hungarian. He
meeting,
has a Hungarian
got
heritage.
up and went,
He
Thank God.
he's
How did that
ugly,
What if you'd been hurt?
extremely
"That was
ugly.
Bill's
He's
first
very
time
hairy
bike."
and
Oh, I can't
short
believe he got back on.
and
He didn't
he's
fall
got
this
skin
time.
issues. And he sells meat
Fracture,
out of a
but
bus
it's
that he
sharp.
lives
Don't you
in.
worry a little bit
And he
more
just
about
lives in
that from the
squalor.
hospital.
I mean, it's just awful.
We had all the.
And he's just an
And-
outcast.
and
But
our
people
friends
line
told
up to buy his meat.
us,
His meat is great. And he goes to a doctor that a woman doctor that is helping him and you know thinks she can help him with his skin and his life and all this stuff. And he's totally in love with this doctor and has all these fantasies about you know her and all this stuff.
But that's
and
British. That's
it's
Australia.
just I
Bangkok,
don't know how to
maybe.
describe it. I mean, he just, you know, he goes and sees this doctor, and he's in the, and she's a pediatrician. She's not a,
Oh, she's not even.
and so he's in the waiting room with all these mothers
Children.
and their kids,
That's my
and
cover.
all the mothers are kind of going, you know, ooh,
What?
you know,
That's not
And-
the cover we had.
is
and
that?
That's the Kindle cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and
That's not an
but
aardvark,
at
that's
the
a
end of the
rabbit.
book, he becomes a butterfly. And it's just this kind of metamorphosis of this
Is
guy.
it still the convalescent?
Yeah.
Because I think that's her
And
first.
all
I
of a
think I
sudden you
wanna read it.
understand the hairiness
Sounds like Jen. Really liked
and the
Oh.
skin issues
And then
and all this stuff. And he,
it sounds
He
like you
becomes
really
a
liked it,
butterfly.
Jen.
There's another picture.
I
Interesting.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked
I mean,
it.
she's such an interesting writer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're just like, there's something in here that I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
there as much history in that one as there was in the
Oh,
I
Because
mean-
I had to
I was
stop.
gonna
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I had to stop looking up all the names and stuff because they were the ones that I looked up were accurate.
She was right.
I mean, she. I don't know, but
Oslet isn't real.
she's got a really bizarre sense of imagination to weave all this stuff together.
And must have some kind of scientific background also. I mean, it was so descriptive about the beginning of the world and
Mm-hmm.
evolution. And, I mean, is she a botanist or is she an evolutionist?
She's
or
done a
did
lot of
she
things.
Go to school
I wondered. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. How did she find all these distinct scientific terms for everything?
Descriptions, Yeah.
It's like, how did she look all that? It would take forever to write that
She's
book.
had some odd jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't she in Slovakia or did she work in?
She's a butcher
was-
in Alaska.
Yeah, a butcher in Alaska.
And an
yes,
licensed
the guy
masseuse
that
in
showed
Poland.
us.
Yeah, that's where the meat comes in.
A secretary in San
And that was the
Francisco.
character who sold meat out of his truck.
Kim, is that you?
No.
Yes, that's Bangkok.
Is that a prayer bell or something?
It's a prayer bell.
Is that the angel getting its wings or something?
Yeah.
Normally she lives in Maine.
It's a gay call.
You had to pay money for those prayers, by the way.
Yeah.
You and
We're waiting
Buddha,
to hang that out.
you and Buddha are just not getting along at all.
Oh, I like Buddha, but I don't like temples.
Really?
They were very
So in the book,
They're
Do-
very what?
plastic.
Yeah, John.
Plastic?
in the book, do you think that the female author gets away with what you would normally see from a male author talking about blowjobs and physical
Oh
descriptions?
no, only female
and
authors.
women
Male
often-
authors would
yeah.
not write about that.
Just a second, keep going, John.
I kind of interrupted him.
Yeah, I'm assuming
Correct him.
females don't put that as prominent. That it may be there incidentally, occasionally, but I think their focus is, elsewhere. So is she getting? She did a great job. Is she getting like?
How do you know?
I think she did a great
How do you
job.
know?
Let's just make sure that she
How do you know?
I really think at this point in time we should ask Jan.
She did a great job with the novel.
It sounds like
Okay.
she's held some.
But is she like? Are we giving her more latitude? She's brought this in, and you wonder how or why she brought in what's typically not brought in from a female perspective. Kind of a salacious male kind of focus. Do we give her more latitude to do that, or is she talking to us and
She's
trying to
talking
say
to
something as a female that we're supposed to pick up?
I think she knows that most of us know nothing about this anyway, so she can say anything she wants about it.
Okay.
Because none of us have really actually ever experienced it. Probably 75% of the population has never experienced that. I don't know, maybe 60.
Experience what?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Experience what, Betty?
A male relationship. Oh, okay, maybe only 60%. All right, I'm gonna bring that down. 55%.
Well, I would say only 50% of us have guaranteed not been experiencing a male-to-male relationship.
That would
Okay.
be us
At
over
least.
here.
Okay,
At least.
but let me clarify.
Yeah.
Let me clarify.
I don't think. I
She could have presented the gay, political, all that stuff, which is fine. Everybody does that. But she goes a step further where your typical man might do and talk about specific blowjobs and anal sex or whatever it was, and
She's pretty
naked
descriptive.
men. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she didn't
wonder
have to
what
by any means and
Pete
still be as
Buttigieg
effective.
would say about this book.
Say
Pardon?
again.
I wonder what Pete Buttigieg would think.
A
about
politician who's gay.
A
Yeah.
politician who's gay.
Well, because it's
Would he
a
think it's clever?
parody on Republicans.
Or would
I
you
mean,
think it was
would-
too personal and
Personal.
revealing? Do you know what's interesting, John? I know I looked to see who the author was, but when I was reading it, I was thinking a male had written
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
And then I got the book at the Dunedin Library, and then I give the book to Jim, and Jim finishes it. We both finish it within 2 weeks, and he goes, "Wow, that was really interesting from a female writer," and I went, "Oh God, that was a woman."
I appreciated that a woman wrote about sex like men can write about women's
Right.
sex.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes.
We all just think that
Do you
that-
remember,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
know what the hell
a
he's
different
talking about.
perspective
You
to me,
remember,
because I felt the same way, kind of like, oh,
Brokeback Mountain by Annie Proulx.
Yeah.
She wrote, that was a short story.
Yeah. Yeah.
First published in the New Yorker.
Yeah.
And then they
There you have it.
and
Yeah.
she wrote, that was a
Annie
pretty explicit.
Yeah.
yeah,
But men have
Okay.
been writing about women's sex for
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
and bodies
centuries.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But why didn't she make it about a female congresswoman and another female
I think she was-
and another woman?
Lesbians.
Trying to skewer men's
Well-
hypocrisy. in a way.
Yeah.
Probably, I think
do
you're
too.
right.
Yeah.
And I would,
think
I
that
would
was
that was
part
a
of
really
it.
good question, John.
statistically, how many, lesbian women are in politics, statistically.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess more men,
Yeah.
would be that than women, that's just.
Because there's more men in politics.
Well, there you go. There's
Statistically, it's got to be true.
We only know of one woman.
We know Lindsey Graham's gay.
Yeah, we do. But he doesn't admit it.
Oh, I was gonna say, did he come out?
Not yet.
So
Oh,
he's the aardvark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the art.
More than Josh
More
Holly.
than Josh.
Yeah, yeah.
Josh Holly, he's got a
Holly
wife.
is married. He's a Christian.
He's got a,
He got a wife.
he's
He got
got a
himself
beard.
a wife.
He's got a beard.
Yeah, he got a wife.
GAW.
He sure looks. He
Just
sure
in
looks
time
effeminate,
too.
though.
Yeah, he is.
And then the other, to me, a big question about the book is why the aardvark. She could have picked a zillion animal species, so she honed in on something. And was that crucial to get her to present this imagination, or could she picked any animal like
The
a?
name is pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's also an animal that we're just not that familiar with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
You know, like you don't go to the zoo and
We
see
don't
an
know what an
aardvark.
aardvark
You
is.
don't
But
see
to
it
what
running
to
around.
what end? Though?
what did the
I don't
aardvark
know.
represent?
Have you ever seen an aardvark?
That it's unusual. That we
Are there-
that
is it- are there still
that it's
aardvarks?
physically
Oh,
unusual.
yes,
It's
we saw it at the
different.
zoo when we
It's-
went.
Yeah, I was,
And the aardvark
I
has
was,
been around. It's
They
like
had
one of
You know how
obsessed
they
with
bring
it.
one out
Yeah.
every once in a while.
as
Wow.
it is.
Yeah.
You know, they have one of the
Not-
zookeepers
Yeah.
bring out.
Yeah, because
the
to me that would
Yeah.
get drawn in because it is so different.
Where'd you see
Because
that?
I
Are they
don't know
big?
that much
At the zoo?
about it. Whereas
Yeah.
Here in
here's
Kansas
an
City,
aardvark.
they have an
I've
Are they big?
never gone to a
Jim,
concert
As big as a
saying,
pig.
Where is
"Oh,
it?
yes."
Like a
But
pig.
At the
aardvark,
zoo, I don't know where it is
It's like a
normally.
pig.
About as
Earth
big
pig.
size
Is it
as
like
a
an
pig.
anteater?
About the
It's in
size of a
Africa.
pig.
It's in Africa by that little.
They can be
stream.
7 feet
Oh,
long.
are those
There's a
aardvark?
warthog.
Is that what
But
they
you
said?
have to see
Yeah,
it.
they
It's
can
not
be
like
7
labeled
feet
in
I
long.
haven't
there.
seen it.
And
I've
they
never
kind of
seen it.
walk on
I'm
their
just
hind.
saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would
So
imagine
that's
all
why
of
I
them.
think of
Yeah,
the
that
beginning of the
sounds-
book, this evolutionary
But I've
thing,
never seen
and,
it.
Yeah.
I
and
never
she's
said I
saying
cannot.
That's what I'm
aardvarks
saying. I've
and
never seen
mankind.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think that was
Yeah.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
I've
about
been
that.
to.
Yeah.
On their front
But I
hooves,
mean-
they walk like this.
Also,
On their
the
back hooves, they walk
description.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plantagenet and digitenet or whatever
yeah,
those
yeah,
words she
yeah.
kept
Is that
bringing
it?
up.
Okay.
That's what that means. On their front feet, they walk like this. And on their back feet, they walk
Flat-footed.
like
Oh,
this.
okay.
And how ugly
So-
it is, but who looked at it closely and started kind of describing how silky and beautiful
Oh, yeah.
it was? There was one of the characters. that
Well, it was
actually
the guy, the taxidermist, who,
Yeah, the
who was,
This is really
Who was-
soft.
Well,
for
he
her.
was in love.
because,
with it.
because he
Yeah.
had to figure out
He
every
was in
little
love with it.
thing
Yeah.
about it.
That was
and
fascinating too.
That
How,
was
didn't-
how she
fascinating.
He
described
didn't know
the
what it looked like when
taxidermist.
it was alive, so he had to,
He had to
figure
use his
that out.
imagination by looking at its skin, basically.
So the Lacey Act, was this actually illegally
I
poached?
think it's a real act.
Oh, I probably. I
So
didn't look
was
it
the
up.
aardvark illegally poached?
Yeah.
Brought into the country, yeah. I don't know whether it was illegally killed
So
in
Not
Africa.
in
Goring
the
got it.
1800s.
Goring
no.
Yeah.
I
bought
think it
it
was illegal.
from the taxidermist.
We don't know how
originally.
Goering got it, do we?
Yeah, at the auction in England when
Oh, okay.
it was on auction, they sold it to a German guy.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
That was
Whoa.
Herman
Which brought
Goering's
in the
father.
Nazi
Yes.
thing.
Right.
Not Herman
Oh,
Goering
I missed
himself.
that, yeah.
That was so clever how she kept
I know.
adding
I know.
things to it. It reminded me, what was the Five Little Pigs? Who's the author, the woman? Cause
Oh,
you know,
Doris, the
mysteries.
mystery we
The
read.
mysteries, how they
Agatha
add-
Christie?
Oh, yeah.
Was it
Agatha
Agatha Christie or was
Yeah.
it the other woman?
Agatha.
Agatha
I
Christie.
think it, or any good mystery writer, I mean, that we've read, books kept popping in my mind, not the actual name of them, but just like, we've read a book like this where new things keep coming and you go, oh no, not this. Oh, this poor guy. He's like, oh no, he's got a Nazi aardvark.
Yeah,
in his
exactly.
trunk."
Nazi aardvark.
Aardvark wasn't in
With
that.
human eyes.
Oh my,
I mean, it's
with
like-
the human eyes.
I mean, I'd
It was
never
like
heard that. That to me was like,
hilariously.
Well, the
It
whole
was.
Nazi thing was kind
hilarious.
of, topical now.
I thought the whole
Yeah,
thing was
and then
comical,
how the
actually.
news,
Yeah.
how the news people would get a hold of it, you
Yeah.
know, and
Oh, I love
blow
that how
it
they were
up.
making fun of the news people. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think another reason for the aardvark is it's a freak. And gay people
Are
are considered
freaks.
freaks,
Yeah, yeah.
especially back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they identified, especially Hostet
Yeah.
and the other guy, why they identified with the
yeah.
aardvark. They saw its beauty and not its freakishness.
So they're like kinds. They could recognize the difference.
Well, they say the aardvark will last the longest because he just lives on the ants, and there'll always
There'll
be
always
ants.
be ants.
There will always be ants. Oh my gosh.
So it is a
was
type of
fun,
anteater.
but
Is it a type of
Yeah.
anteater?
I don't know whether it's
It
related
is
to
a-
the
it's
anteater or not.
Not directly, but it's
Oh,
in the
termites.
general, termites.
termites.
Too bad
Not
not cockroaches.
necessarily. I know, too bad not cockroach. Who eats cockroach?
But it
Because
makes
they'll be around forever.
Yeah.
but it makes you wonder how it got those long ears. I mean, like
It has
at some
to
point there was some
listen.
cross something or other.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
but it has to also listen to a hum or a buzz or a,
Yeah,
you know, where
Mhm.
that termite is.
yeah.
The last scene was kind of interesting, where he was like in there with all the women. They
In
were
the
like-
base, doing his job in
his
the
new
basement.
job, yeah. He's listening
Whatever
to all
he's
the
doing.
women.
Yeah.
The call center or something? What was he doing?
Some-
Well, what was that?
What was he doing? He was like
Hmm.
filing or something. I mean, he's been totally,
Oh, he-
demoted.
Totally demoted, and he was like,
But he's getting
At
into
their
it.
beck
He
and
went out and
call,
bought
yeah.
a bunch of Van Heusen shirts and khakis, and he's.
He would never wear khakis.
But,
And the fact that when he described anything,
Right.
whether it was something in his house
Mhm.
or one he was wearing,
Mhm.
there was always the price tag
Yeah.
there in parentheses.
Yeah.
So much,
Yes,
so much
right.
money.
So he was dressing as a persona
Of
of
Reagan.
Reagan for all through the book until
Right.
his fall,
And then he just
and
dressed
now
like
he is the
he's
persona of
dressing like-
what?
Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody
I
else.
could-
Everybody else who's
Yeah.
working down there in the
Or,
Okay.
basement.
Okay.
yeah.
Van Heusen.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the outlet place,
That's not
where you've
considered.
got
He
your
didn't think
Van
that was a
Heusen.
great shirt. He was
Not
very.
that Van Heusen is a bad shirt. It's
Yeah.
just the everyday
It's not.
regular
It's
people
not
wear
a
it. Regular guys wear it.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
fancy shirt.
Does Costco sell it?
Well, and
They
you
might.
can take this back to. Okay, I'm bringing this up because we went to a UMKC play from Gogol, a Russian playwright and author. Okay, but was he the one that did the overcoat? Yeah. So anyway, the clothes you wear, he wrote the overcoat short play. The clothes you wear is supposed to have meaning, and even in today. And so
Yeah.
there's this sort of a theme there saying the step down, but he's still into
A name.
self-identity
Right.
through clothing.
Mhm.
He can't spiritually come out and this is who I am. It's like the clothes I wear is who I am. And from Reagan, which was a non-starter, he was never going to succeed at that level ever. Well, partly because he was gay, I guess. I don't know. But I'd forgotten about the end there where he's still dressing.
Yeah,
for-
the whole Reagan thing was creepy too. I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
so
This guy is
creepy.
weird.
I was just like, what?
Why Reagan?
Why? Well, there's a
Why
whole fan,
Reagan?
there's a whole
Because
fan
Reagan
club.
was gay.
These,
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole fan club of,
Yeah.
Reagan,
these Republicans worship again.
They,
Because he was a movie star.
well, they did.
well, they used
It
to.
was Hollywood.
He's when the government is the enemy thing started, and this is where we've ended up.
There were a lot of great quotes too of
yeah, there was.
politicians and artists, and I wish I could remember one. I have them written down. My stuff is way over there.
Good choice.
That's all
I
right.
enjoyed it.
It was a really good choice, Jan. I thought
Yes.
it was really,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was a page turner. I mean, it was
Okay.
really well done.
Glad you liked it.
Just-
And it was
Oh.
done succinctly, it was like good editing, really good
Well
editing,
written.
well written, but well
Packed a
edited.
punch.
If you can't say it in 300 pages, you can't say it.
Exactly.
It's not worth it.
For sure.
So we
Did-
got to keep all of our books under 300.
I hope so.
No, I'm
Did-
just saying.
Did anybody else have trouble going back and forth with
bad
this
idea.
particular book?
You know what, I was irritated
I
at the
did.
beginning about it, and I thought, I'm just gonna skip this chapter and go on, because I don't really care about what's happening here. I wanna keep going with what's happening here. She did a really good job of making me wanna know what's happening right now, and then she switched it up on me.
What are they talking
Yeah.
about now?
But then by the
They're
time I get
talking
to the end
about
of that one, I feel
skipping
the same
sections
way
of
about
Yeah.
it.
the book.
Which
So
this
I just said I just have to go with
Well,
this,
she
don't
was saying
skip ahead,
The
you'll
old
understand
section.
it.
Some
Yeah, yeah,
The older
Yeah,
guy.
because actually
She
what's
wanted to keep
interesting
up
is
with the
sequence.
politicians.
Yes,
It was
because
Not
kind
for
of
the
like
it was
text.
parallel,
Parallel
but
sequence.
in different centuries.
Centuries.
And so
Yeah.
you're like, I don't care. I'm into this guy.
Yeah.
That one right here. Now don't mess me up. And then I'd switch over. And finally,
I totally agree. It's like I was reading the first
I think it
part
was
and getting
intentional.
Yeah, oh yeah.
well,
I think it was intentional, really.
And it's hard for people to grab you like that, but I'd read the
Shoot.
first part, and then we'd switch, and kind of like you said, when she switched, I'd be going, "Damn, what
I wanna
happened?
know what
What happened?
happened."
Oh no!" But then you go, "Now,
Did you
what is
ever-
happening now?"
Did you ever skip ahead though to see what happened?
I don't think so.
I didn't
But
either,
it was
but I
a-
wanted to.
Yeah, well, I think
I wanted to badly.
because of this, I think I lost track of certain things because I
Yeah.
tried my best to switch, but I don't think I succeeded.
A lot of it was parallel, and you could see the parallel, and that's why she did it. So you can see if she told one story and then the other story, you'd miss
There's
even more.
another
I
one.
think
Right
this
And I got the characters totally confused going from one era to the other. I just
sometimes,
like,
yeah.
I was like, now who's the gay guy and who's the what?
Everybody was gay.
Oh,
Everybody
Yeah,
was
they were
gay.
all gay.
Even the aardvark.
Kind of ended up that way.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. One book we read, I remember it was about a house, and somebody lived in it, and
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and then
Oh,
every,
yeah, that book.
And then in the
but it
end-
was more defined. Every other chapter
right.
was, and I did that with that book. I read
Skipped.
all of the present day
Oh,
stuff
really?
first, and then I read
Oh,
all
my gosh.
of
Wow.
the historical
Okay.
stuff.
In this book,
No,
Different book?
I can't remember the name of it now.
Devil in the White
But-
City.
book.
No.
But I mean, there are books you could.
But yeah, that drove me crazy.
But did this drive
But-
you crazy?
no.
Well, that was a
I mean,
longer
It's
book.
kind of.
There was enough parallel where if you're reading this one and then you switch and you go, oh my God, it's like the same people, only it's a different century.
Yeah.
Their
And they're
lives
doing
didn't
the
line
same
up.
And it was
And they're doing
shorter.
the same dang thing.
And it was shorter too. The,
Did we
the
read
switches.
Hidden,
Read what?
the
Hidden.
book that Nishi wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because some
I didn't have it.
people read the one character's
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
chapters,
Yeah. There are a lot of
and
books like
some
that,
people
really.
read
Was it the Dutch
And then
house?
yes, I think
Yeah.
The
so.
what?
No, I
the
googled,
Death House.
I googled Tom Hanks
Dutch
narrated
House.
what, because I remember
Oh.
him narrating it.
It
during
is.
this
Oh,
part,
God,
so
that's
It was
funny.
the Dutch house, because I put in the house and nothing came up, but
Yeah.
anyway, it was the Dutch house.
Dutch House.
Good job.
And then sometimes what happens with when you listen to them audio and they
Yeah.
switch
Yeah,
back
gotcha.
and forth,
Yeah.
the reader does some, and it kind of helps with the reader, with the way
Right,
the
when
reader
you're
does
listening,
it. When
it
you're
does.
doing the audio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this, I wonder.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't listen to it. We read it. So.
I read it too. So
But I mean, sometimes I love it when an author reads their own book. I
Well,
love
it's-
that.
it's the
But I
difference-
would like Tom Hanks reading a book to me too.
Yeah, it's the difference between reading a play and watching a play.
Yes.
Like I've read every single play I've ever read, maybe one or two exceptions. You know, it's like I'm going, this is really flat and this is really stupid, and then you see it in the play and it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, yeah.
And when you listen, sometimes if it's really well done, you get
Yeah.
that same
Same
feeling
thing.
of
yes,
like you really feel like you know those characters
Mhm.
because you hear this voice and
Well, you've got the emotion
right.
out in front, where when you're reading it, maybe it's flattened a little bit or something.
Okay, thanks, Jan. Good pick.
good job.
It's time for Jan.
Home run, home run.
When we
Yeah.
so we might start a book.